Anglers. Got something a little different going on this time. I'm here with you guys with Jason Isaacs, Cincinnati Kayak Fishing Angler of the Year, the current holder of the belt. Jason, you've had a pretty damn good year, buddy.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I definitely didn't anticipate. I didn't even think, like, after I fished the first event, like, maybe I should try winning the Angler of the Year or whatever. It didn't really occur to me that I even had a shot until after probably the fourth event or something. So, and I didn't plan on fishing all the events to begin with, but luckily the majority of them were on a Sunday, so it makes it a lot easier. That
On your schedule?
Yeah, because I work Saturday, so it makes it tough. So.
That is one of the cool things about Cincinnati Kayak Fishing, man. They do have the Sunday events, man.
And also, I really like and appreciate the fact that Brian, it seems like he waits till every schedule is out, both locally and nationally, and he fills those gaps.
Yeah, Brian at Strictly Sail, he's the guy who runs the Cincinnati Kayak Fishing tournaments. And that may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but to you and me, and I've gotten to know you from the national trail stuff together. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do local stuff at all because most of it this year has conflicted with like every major tournament, So it's really nice to have that option, man. Yeah. Dude, and I tell you, I was rooting for you the whole time, man. I was watching it all day long. The last one, because there's a battle for the top three guys, you, Grimsley, and Skidmore, kind of, whoever would have done really good had a chance to take the belt. So it was exciting to watch that, man, and it's been really cool to watch the year develop for you with Cincinnati Kayak Fishing, and then to see you also like on the national trail. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier. How do you feel about your experiences from fishing events outside of Ohio? Way outside of Ohio. We're talking New York. We've been almost in the Mississippi. You've been in Mississippi and then all the way to New York, fishing. You think that helped play
to Florida?
To Florida, exactly, to Florida. You think that's playing a role in your success and becoming a better angler and a more consistent angler and putting things together?
It definitely helps. Like me and you talked about earlier, I hear people say that they want to become a better local angler before they try the national stuff. I feel like me doing the national stuff has made me a better local angler the other way. I think it's worked reverse of how a lot of people think and what their mindset is.
I think you're so right, because you start looking at it from a new light, because you get to fish these other lakes and they fish so different.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And the techniques and the colors, and then you come home and it's just like, well, I got a new tool, I got a new trick that I learned, and you start throwing it on local waters.
Yeah. And I just dove right in last year, my first year doing it. My first event was Seminole.
I remember that. That's the first time I met you.
Yeah, I dove right in. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna try it. Boss gave me the time off of work, so we went down there and tried it. And I had a kid yesterday come up through where I was fishing, and we were talking, and I told him, I said, man, the best advice I can give anybody is just to jump right in. Just do it.
Just jump in.
Just do it.
Yep.
Yeah, don't be scared. You're going to catch fish and you're not going to catch fish. That's the way it is.
Man, so let's talk about baits for a second. Mm-hmm. Your three top baits this year. For Cincinnati Kayak Fishing Angler of the Year. To get this belt, what were those three baits?
A Mag Fatty Z, a Fatty Z, the smaller one, and probably a big TRD. Yeah.
So all worms.
Yes.
All floating worms.
All Z-Man.
All Z-Man.
Yep.
All rigged the same?
All Texas rig for the most part. Yeah. My dad, makes a jig himself, and
which is a sweet little jig.
I used it at Rocky Fork, but I also cut like an inch off of the big TRD because the water was so cold.
Yeah.
I wanted that smaller profile, and
give them something a little easier to eat.
Yeah, and it helped for sure. I'm trying to think back.
So I find that fascinating, man. That your top 3 baits, they're all similar, but they are different.
Yeah.
And you're rigging them, I don't want to say the same, but very, very close.
Right. Yeah. Well, the mag fatty, like, I'll go between a 1/4 and a 3/16 ounce sinker, and sometimes a 3/0 hook, sometimes a 4/0 hook. It probably mainly depends on like what's in my tackle box. Like if I'm out of one, I'm not out of the other. But the Fatty Z is just 3/16 with a 3/0 hook.
Are you pegging that?
The sinker?
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. I don't know.
So you're getting separation when you cast it in. You're getting some separation between the weight and that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to float and drag down.
Because honestly, 90% of my casts are sidearm anyway. So on those sidearm casts, when that sinker hits, that worm's going. It's still, the momentum of the worm keeps going.
Yep.
I'll watch it skip, and my sinker stay right there. So I know
you're getting a lot of separation.
Yeah.
Because I know even just dropping it in the water, I've dropped it in clear water, and you'll see the weight fall before the worm does. Because there's so much buoyancy for that elastic, the Z-Man and stuff.
You know what's really weird too that I noticed this year is like when I'm jigging that worm back, and I'll hold it and keep tension as it's falling, I can actually feel a vibration in that worm as it's going through the water. As weird as that may sound, I don't know if the rods I'm using are like super sensitive and great, or but
well, I do see a St. Croix Mojo bass over there.
Yeah, but it was when I first discovered it, I was like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's got to attract the fish.
Oh yeah,
it has to.
And it's interesting to see the differences in the fall between the mag fatties, or the fatty Z's, mag fatty Z, and the big TRD, because they fall different. The big TRD kind of likes to do like a circle fall.
Well, and also the big TRD's got bumps on the back end of it, and the fatties don't.
Well, it's the shape of the fatty too. It kind of comes to that point in the back.
Well, the tail's a bulb.
Yeah.
An actual bulb, to where the TRD is just a kind of a rounded point, should I say. Best way to describe it, really. But it's also, like I said, it's got those little bumps from in the mold.
So, man, we're going to end this here, man. On the closing note, since you're Angler of the Year, which means consistency, that's what this means. I mean, so how many events did you have to fish?
I fished all 7.
You fished all 7, and it was 5 of the 7 counted, right?
Yeah.
So that means you're the most consistent angler at Cincinnati Kayak Fishing for the year, man. What kind of advice can you give someone who's getting into tournament fishing day one? Like, they have never fished a tournament. What would you tell that guy?
Just like I said earlier, just jump right in and do it.
Just jump in and do it.
And ask a lot of questions. That I feel like that's very vital. I ask people a lot of questions. I will always ask people a lot of questions, because I think one of the most important things as an angler is that I need to remain teachable.
Yeah. Sport's constantly changing. Fish are constantly
You have to remain teachable. You have to be able to adapt and adjust. Like I heard last year on one of the podcasts, I heard Jody Queen say, the difference between a good angler and an elite angler is being able to make those adjustments in the middle of a tournament. And when he said that, I don't know how, if you or how many other people are like sports savvy, but that I automatically thought when Alabama was in the national championship, Jalen Hurts was their quarterback, awesome quarterback. They were losing the game at halftime, they took him out and put a true freshman in.
A true freshman.
And the dude come back and won the national championship for him. Like, that's the craziest play call I've ever seen in sports history, if you ask me. Like, you just took, like, your best player out and put this kid in.
But the coach saw the adjustment that needed to be made.
He made that adjustment, and they won the national championship. That's the type of stuff that I think about. When I heard Jody say that, I was like, yeah. Because you know, Nick Saban's like the best coach ever, but that's why. Because he makes those adjustments, and he knows when to make the adjustments. That's key, I think. You know, so yeah.
So anglers, you just heard it all from Jason Isaacs, Cincinnati Kayak Fishing Angler of the Year 2021.